U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force last night between 11 and midnight and told them that the car had been located there. They had gotten a call from a local tow company that I guess realized that they had the car in their impound lot. They received a call. That tow company, or actually Williamson County Sheriff's Office, received a call last Friday afternoon at 1:50 p.m. that there was an abandoned car on whatever road. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the road. They responded. The car was towed at 2:37 p.m. last Friday. So that means that that's about a 2-hour drive from here. So about 3 hours and 50 minutes after they left Lawrence, Alabama, they abandoned that vehicle. We're assuming where it was abandoned, and it was abandoned so quickly that they probably had mechanical problems with it, because it was abandoned pretty much out in the middle of nowhere on the side of a county road where it would obviously draw attention and be found. So we know now where the car is. We know what direction they went. Right now we're trying to canvass the area for any witnesses, also trying to research, see if any stolen vehicles were reported in that area during that time. So that's what we're following up on. I have copies of the tow-in report for you if you'd like to get a copy of that before you leave. We redacted the complainant's information. But we're sort of back to square one as far as the vehicle description right now. As I said, we're working on trying to see if there are any stolen vehicles in that area. I'm hoping that we'll get a break in that. But we're no longer looking for the Ford Edge. I also have with me our district attorney, Chris Conley, and he has an update for you on the reward information.
Thank you, Sheriff. After talking with the sheriff, I contacted the governor's office this morning and submitted a written request for her to give us the maximum reward possible under state law, which that's $5,000 per person. I submitted a written request, and within 1 hour of getting that request, she just provided me with a proclamation approving that maximum request for the award. And she states that the circumstances surrounding this event indicate that every effort should be made to apprehend and arrest Vicky White and Casey White. So we thank the governor's office for their prompt response and are certainly hopeful that this may encourage or incentivize someone to come forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Does that extend the total? Does it make it higher?
That makes the total reward for Casey White $15,000. The total reward for Vicky White $10,000. So a total of $25,000 in reward money now. Okay, with that, I'll take a few questions.
Sheriff, are you upset at all about the fact that it took maybe a couple days for this other department to tell you guys that the car was sitting there in an impound lot?
Well, I mean, not really. Obviously, we'd like to know it Friday. They found the car before we even knew they were gone. So, you know, I mean, there's no fault or blame on anyone. You know, the tow driver towed it Friday afternoon. I'm sure that he probably sees some of the coverage that you guys have provided us. Saw the description of the car, and then probably a light went off, said, hey, you know, I think I remember towing that car, and went out in the lot and found it.
But I guess I'm concerned because is it like you guys sent out a bulletin, so every agency should be getting a bulletin that you guys were looking for this car. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out, where was the ball dropped in terms of looking at the paperwork where it was missing and that they had one?
You know, I'm not sure I followed that question, but are you saying the deputy that responded to the call?
No, I'm just basically saying you guys put out a bulletin to the entire country that you're looking for this car.
Yes.
And so I guess what I'm saying is, at what point did they look at the bulletin and notice that they had the same car that you were looking for?
Well, the car was towed on Friday. That bulletin went out, if I'm not mistaken, Tuesday morning. So, you know, there again, that's about a 4-day delay, and I'm sure at some point in time, a light went off in this guy's head, and he thought, wait a minute, you know. I mean, they tow a lot of cars, you know.
Sheriff, was there anything found in the car? What sort of state was the car in? And has there been any credible sightings in that area of Tennessee?
No credible sightings I'm aware of. The car was, there was nothing in the car. the car was not inventoried by the record company, and the comment is that it didn't appear to be anything in it. It had been, there had been an attempt to spray paint it, and I have some photos if you want to see it. It's a botched up job, but they did attempt to try to paint it a little bit.
What makes you think the car actually broke down, as opposed to them just ditching it, getting
Well,
into the car?
because of where it was found, a rural road, county road, where there's, there may not a lot of traffic, but somebody obviously would see it sitting on the side of the road and call it in, which is what happened. If I were going to abandon a car that I knew was hot, it would be in a crowded parking lot somewhere where it'd blend in and not stand out so much.
Have you been able to piece any more of the puzzle pieces together in terms of what Vicky was up to leading up to this? There are reports that she was at the Kohl's buying large men's clothing and also at an adult store.
No. I don't know what she was up to. I think at this point it's obviously, a jailhouse romance or something, but that's the only explanation I really have.
Is there anything on video that you've seen to support that it was a romance?
Not that I've seen. I saw a hand over here a while ago, I thought.
Sure, quick question.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Now you actually have the car in your possession, in law enforcement's possession. What can you glean from that vehicle, if anything, about how you're trying to track down these kids?
I don't know. It really doesn't leave us a lot. We just know what direction they were headed. They headed north from here. Now, where they're after Friday afternoon when they abandoned that car, which direction they had them there, we don't know. So on that particular issue, we're sort of back to square one. But
And one follow-up to that, I know Mr. Connolly had announced earlier that $90,000 roughly was taken out of a series of banks by Vicky White the week prior. What can you say about that?
yeah, that's my understanding. From a number of banks, and we knew she had cash. We've been working on trying to find that. Find out what she had or whatever. But yes, I mean they had plenty of cash.
Do you think she had more than $90,000 in cash?
Not that we know of. Yes, sir.
Sure. Do you have any information about any connections as far as family members to either Casey or Vicky White in Middle Tennessee or in that northern direction on 65?
Not that we know of. That's something we'll be looking into for sure to see if we can find. I don't think so because we've been sort of looking at that from day one as far as family
So
connected.
you're thinking
Yes.
they're on foot?
Well, they were when they lost their vehicle. Now, there again, did they steal another car? They hitch a ride with somebody or something? We don't know.
Just answer the question. I was going to say, have you had any indication how they left that remote area?
Yeah.
Let's move on from that.
No, sir, we don't know right now.
Okay, thank you.
Rick, how far off of 65 was the car left?
It looked like, I don't know, I haven't been to the scene. Looking at the map, it looked like maybe 2 or 3 miles east of 65, due east of Spring Hill, Tennessee. So, it's hard to tell for sure. But obviously, they were taking the back roads.
On our last report, we heard that they had potentially had AR-15, a shotgun, and some other weapons. Do you think that they might have taken those weapons with them or still armed?
I think anything they had in the car with them, they obviously took with them because there was nothing in the car. Those are weapons that Vicky White owned personally. We're assuming that they have those weapons with them. We don't know that for a fact, but we're on the side of safety. We're assuming they do have those weapons.
I guess we all assume that you guys are canvassing, or someone's canvassing that area right now. Any homes nearby to where the car was dropped off? Any structures that we should know?
It's a sparsely populated area, but deputy marshals and other agents have been there all morning canvassing, trying to see if there were any witnesses that saw anything that might give us some lead.
Sure. At this point, is there any information to believe that anyone else, law enforcement or other in the community, that were involved with either the escape or assisting them once the escape was successful?
There's no indication I'm aware of that anyone else was involved other than Vicky White and Casey White.
Sheriff, have there been any other credible sightings? I know you were asked about that area in Tennessee. Has there been any other credible sightings of these two?
None credible. The last text we received on our Facebook or our message board was that they were seen on I-5 headed north in Oregon in that orange car. So that was this afternoon or this morning.
Sorry, cutting off. You've been in law enforcement for many years. What is your gut telling you about this whole situation?
My gut is telling me that they're obviously on the run, and you know, that they're probably right now, you know, I think the fact that they abandoned this car so quick and where they abandoned it, I think it threw them a curve. I don't think they planned for that. And I think they, you know, were grasping at straws. Now, that's been, you know, a week ago today that this happened, almost to the hour. Matter of fact, 2 o'clock. That car was towed at 2:37. It was reported at 10 minutes till 2, which it's 2:08 right now. So, you know, basically 7 days ago to the minute, they had this problem. And so I think it threw them a curve, but they've obviously had plenty of time to recover from that. So they probably settled back down into some sort of routine.
To follow up on the question earlier about whether or not someone could potentially help them, how else would they have gotten out of this rural, sparse area? If the car breaks down, are they leave it aside? What are the possible avenues of transportation?
Well, obviously, you know, they could have walked or someone could have picked them up. I mean, that's really about the only two options. We're hoping maybe they walked somewhere and then stole a vehicle. So, you know, as we speak, they're working on researching to see if any vehicles were reported stolen in that area. They might have gotten a ride somewhere because, remember, at this time, there'd been no information put out. We wasn't even aware they were missing. So, you know, somebody saw them walking down the road, they might have just picked them up.
Sheriff, are you still concerned for Vicky White's safety?
I am. I'll be concerned for her safety until we know she's safe. This guy is, you know, he's volatile. I mean, anything could set him off, and you know, at any time he could just lose it and decide she's a hindrance to him, and you know, harm her. So,
Sheriff, some people we've spoken to have called Vicky smart and calculated. I mean, do you think that she's sort of one step ahead of law enforcement right now and has all of this planned out?
I think that her knowledge of corrections and her knowledge of the procedures that we use here in the sheriff's office on transport most definitely played to her advantage. I think this was a very well thought out plan, and you know, so and her knowledge is you know, sort of put us what's the word I'm looking for? You know, we're sort of at a loss as to, you know, but she definitely, I mean, it's a very calculated plan.
Sheriff, during your investigation, have you done any search warrants at either the home that Vicky White used to own or her mother's home? And is that why you have these missing firearms? Is that how you kind of know that information?
I don't know. I would not be surprised if they hadn't done search warrants. I'm not aware that for a fact that they did, but I know they followed every lead, so I haven't asked them about that, and they hadn't informed me yet.
Sheriff, what about the fact that Vicky White might be using different aliases?
We know she used aliases, and you know, we're following up on that as well. She used the alias to purchase the car, so you know, we know she has used those aliases. That was another piece of information that was inadvertently let out earlier this week. So I'm assuming she's probably ditched those aliases and probably got some new identities now. Yes, sir.
So you've met obviously Vicky White in the past. What direct message would you say to her? The cameras are here now. You're making direct appeal to her. What would you say? Speak directly to Vicky now. She's probably listening to this, or she'll be listening to this. What would you say?
What would I say to Vicky right now? The same thing I've been saying. You know. I'm sorry.
You can speak straight to the cameras there. They're looking. She's watching.
Yeah. I would, you know, at this point in time, I would say to Vicky that, you know, the same thing I've been saying. You know, we're going to find you. Hopefully we find you safe. If you're safe right now, still safe, get out while you can and turn yourself in to local authorities wherever you're at. So, yes, ma'am.
Were we aware of any other surveillance video here in Tennessee that was maybe spotted them at all? Did their car or themselves in the store?
All right, video about the car
No,
themselves.
any additional surveillance video that we haven't talked about that has maybe spotted them either here or in Tennessee? Are we aware of?
I know, and someone asked earlier about the hotel she stayed in Thursday night. We did. I followed up to see if we had video of that. The investigators actually went out and viewed the video. We do not have copies of that video, but we do know that she was spotted on video at the Quality Inn directly behind Logan's. And I know that's been the case in a couple other cases where they viewed the video. We don't actually have copies.
All right, yeah. Just want a quick follow-up question regarding the aliases. Do you know if she used those aliases for her communication with Casey White while he was in prison?
I don't know that. I'm not sure. Couple more questions.
Sheriff, the U.S. Marshals put out a mock-up of Vicky wearing a brown wig. Is there any reason as to why you suspect that she may be disguising herself like
Well,
that?
I mean, I think it's probably logical and reasonable to assume she's probably tried to alter her appearance for obvious reasons. Do we know for a fact she's done that? No. We don't know for a fact. One more question.
Sheriff, how would you sort of summarize where the investigation stands right now? You talked about some sort of new information, some setbacks along the way. How would you categorize where this investigation is? Right
It's behind where we'd like for it to be. We wish we had a lot more progress. It's been a week. I wish we'd had them back in custody within hours. But, we just have to work with what we got. We're still depending on leads from the public, tips, so we encourage people if you see something, regardless of how unimportant you might think it is, call, report it, and let us follow up on it. Last question.
Sheriff, to follow up kind of what she asked, using her aliases to possibly communicate with Casey White or back to possibly visit in the penitentiaries, which was obviously not reported correctly or stated correctly. Does that go back to like video visitation during COVID and things like that?
It does, and phone communication. The thing we've confirmed is phone communication. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I read that.
The last question.
I read that her keys and cuffs and radio have been found. Can you confirm that?
The what now?
That Vicky White's jail keys and her handcuffs and her radio have been
That was all in the car when we found it at the lot. Okay, thank y'all so much, and thank you again for helping us get the word out. Y'all have been tremendous, so thank you. We'll be in touch. By the way, before anyone leaves, I'm going home. Please do not bother me until 6 o'clock tonight, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, from the
Here's the tow-in report, if y'all would like a copy.